Welcome to the Biazo weekend warm-up. This coming weekend is the last game for the year. We're playing against West City. Should be quite a tough encounter. And we're coming from a very challenging weekend where we had to play two games. One against Juventus on Saturday, and then the next day we had Denville. So the Saturday game against Juventus was a 1-0 draw, a very painful 1-0 draw, having scored and gone ahead within the first 15 minutes of the game and kept that lead for the better part of the game, right until the last minute where Juventus scored their equalizer. Quite similar to the game against Jacaranda actually. So that ended up being a 1-0 draw. The next day was Denville. We had set out to go and redeem ourselves against Denville. We seem to be on the right track. So against Denville, we seem to be on the right track. We're leading 3-1. And then in the last 20-25 minutes of the game, it seems like the wheels came loose. And we moved from 3-1 to losing the game 4-3. So unfortunately this weekend the past weekend did not turn out the way that we had hoped for. And you can see as well on the log table that the result of that outcome is that we moved from the top of the log to now sitting 7. Which I think also it speaks volumes in terms of the kind of challenge that is going on in the league. I mean, we are 7 games in, and the block position keeps shifting. If you drop a point, people are going to pounce. They're going to take over your position. Looking at the results that have been coming in, we can see that teams are fighting, teams are competitive, and they will not take it light, right? So I think it speaks volumes in terms of the kind of challenge that we've got this coming season. We did have a chat a bit earlier on with the coach just to get his thoughts about the weekend that was, just to get his thoughts about the coming weekend as well, and this is what the coach had to say.
Last weekend we played 2 games. On Saturday we played against Waterproof Juventus. We managed to get a point out of the game. You know, it was one of those tough games where anyone couldn't believe it that we drew the game, but it's the nature of the game that we Waterproof got a point out of the game because we had them, you know, for the larger part of the game. They scored their goal the last minute of the game. That's when they had their equalizer. It was very disappointing for the boys. You could see after the game, everyone felt like it's a loss actually, you know. But I must commend the way we played on Saturday. We defended very well against a good side in Waterproof Juventus. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough for us to go home with 3 points. We went home with a point, which is okay, but disappointing with the manner how we conceded their goal. It was very disappointing, very much disappointing. Even myself after the game, I was disappointed the way the results. But in terms of the performance, I was happy with the way we played against Waterproof Juventus. And come on Sunday morning, we had an early kickoff against Denville United. I mean, Denville has been one of those teams that we struggle to beat. Of whatever reason, I don't understand that we struggle to beat Denville. Because if you ask somebody, we are supposed to struggle against Juventus than Denville, but it was the opposite. You know, we put up a great shift on Saturday against Juventus, but I expected us to put the same shift on Sunday. We started well. At some point we were leading 3-1 around 78 minutes, and from nowhere they came back 3-3, and they even get an equalizer. But in terms of our play on Sunday, I was not happy with our body language when we considered especially the second goal from Denville. You know, people might say no, maybe it was offside and all that, but we only played to the whistle. The referee said it's a goal. We couldn't fight that one. We got a red card. I mean, how can you get a red card when the game is 3-3? Now we are just looking for a point. Let's fight and go home with a point. But now that discipline was not there. We got one of our defenders was sent off. Not that I can say that it was something that he was provoked. He said his emotions get better of him on the day where he went to hit some Denville player in the head, and everyone saw it from their bench, the referee, even the spectators saw what he did. You know, so it was a bit of a scuffle. I could see people fighting here and there. I was not just not happy with the way things ended in that moment, because I expected to have 2 red cards on the day. I didn't expect only Biazo to get a red card on the day, because after my player hit the Denver player in the head, there was a Denver player that I don't know which number he was wearing. He went and he also retaliated to that. So to me, a retaliation is that's a red card to me. So I didn't expect the referee to give my player a red card without also punishing the Denver player. I mean, he said, after the match, I went to spoke to the ref. He said, I gave him a yellow. To me, that's not a yellow. He went to and his retaliation is not different from what my player did. He went to hit the player that committed the foul to his player. Denver is not like it's a team that penetrated us in that match. But as our action area was more or less in the middle of the park, we did not play in Denver to half majority of the time. So if you find yourself playing in your half majority of the time, expect that you're going to have problems, you see. And I'm happy with the way we responded after we considered the first goal. We went back to score another goal, and even we take it to 3-1. But at the end of the day, it's those moments where we lack concentration at the end of the game. So we came out without points on the day. It was very disappointing for me as a coach, because I expected us at 3-1 to start playing football again. You know, there's no need for us to hurry it or looking for more goals. Let's start playing football. It's 78 minutes. Let's hold the ball. Let's hold the possession. Let's play the ball around. And it's the nature of the game that we could have, controlled the game more. But we allowed Denver, a team that is looking for goals, to dominate the game, which is not correct going forward. So I was disappointed with our results on Sunday. This Saturday now again we have another tough encounter against West City. These are title contenders. I mean, we have played Juventus, now Denver, now it's West City. One might say, how come we are getting all these games now? I'm happy that we are crossing these bridges now. I'm really happy that we are playing all your title contenders, so-called title contenders this early, so that we refocus as a team. So this Saturday we are playing against West City, a good side, a very good side. We have played them twice, we have beaten all of them, we have won twice. So I'm sure them coming to this game, they know that now enough is enough. It's just like how we responded against Juventus, that they have beaten us twice, we had to respond in a way. So I'm sure that on the day West City, they're going to come all out against AFC Biazo. And apart from us, we don't have enough full squad on the day. We might not have the normal squad that we have, because majority of people have gone home. So it's not an excuse that we're going to use on the day, because everyone is facing the same problem. So if you ask me, that are we ready for West City on the day? We are ready. We are ready. Even if you tell me that we are playing Barcelona tomorrow, we are ready to play anyone.
All right, and then just going back to the past weekend, you played against Juventus on Saturday, and you held them off for the longest time. However, one of the things that came out of the Saturday game was quite a number of injuries from your side. Just give us an update on the players that got injured. How is that affecting your planning going into this weekend as well?
That really affected us big time. We lost our captain in power against Juventus. Morgan also had a knock on Sunday, had to force him to play. Asazuelo, our left back, had his ground. Sunday we had to force him to play. And we had as well a junior, of which Sunday was not available, but he also pulled up some muscle on Saturday. And again, I just forgot one name there's a name that I'm forgetting that also got a knock. Lungelo as well. Yeah, Lungelo got also a serious knock on his lip, but he's a fighter. The boy is a fighter. He came back on Sunday. He played again on Sunday, which is a good side, which is a good attitude from the young man. Then those injuries. Look, you have lost your captain. You are losing Morgan. You have Morgan that is not 100%. You have Asa that is not 100%. You have Lunga that is not 100%. That affected our game. Considering that we don't have depth, majority of people have gone home. So if we had other people that were there, we would have said, okay, we're going to replace Morgan, we're going to replace so and so. But we didn't have that replacement. We had to force them to play the game, which is also not good. They couldn't give their best on the day. But we tried to fight. We tried to fight on the day. That affected us in terms of our defending, how we play from the back and all that. We didn't have that structure from the back. So now we had just to work with what we had on the day. But at the end of the day, I expected the people that were there to put up a great fight against Denver. So it's the nature of the game. Saturday, obviously, we're not going to have power. We might not even have us as well that is traveling home. Morgan, I'm sure by Saturday it should be okay. Lungelo is doubtful; he might be traveling on Saturday as well. So we have a lot of problems at the moment, but that won't be our excuse. If on the day I have 11 players, if on the day myself I have to say I'm getting to the field of play, why not? Why not? I mean, we have to fight. We're not going to have an excuse the day so and so is not there. And as long as we have 11 players on the day, I'm telling you, we're going to fight for the team.
I was actually going to come to that question around the availability of players. Being the 10th of December, a lot of the guys are now going home. Are we actually going to see the coach this coming weekend? Part of the squad? Maybe in the field as well?
Definitely. This weekend is a crazy weekend. You don't know what to expect. But if I don't have numbers, chances I might not start, but probably I might be on the bench. But if I don't have quality that I need on the day, you're gonna have to I'm gonna feature myself. Although I haven't trained in a long time, it's gonna be, my heart is still there, but my body might not allow me to play. But look, the heart wants it, so I have to make a way that it's either I'm not playing, but I might be on the bench. That is the definite. I'll be on the bench if I have the people that I'm looking for on the day. I might not play, but just to be on the sub, I'll be on the bench this Saturday, looking at the numbers.
Before you played last weekend, you were sitting on top of the log.
Yeah.
You've now dropped down to 7th.
Yeah.
How do we end off the year on a positive note? And what is the aim in that regard?
The thing is, the log table changes per games. Today you play. Last weekend we played 2 games. You expected to collect 6 points. You came home with 1 point. And you don't expect yourself to be still number 1. Your all events have collected 6 points. Your other teams that your Juventus have collected, let's say, they've collected 4 points. So there are teams that have collected. You are Hopo, Inner City that have collected 6 points. There are a few teams that have managed to collect 6 points. So if you collect a point, probably you're not doing yourself a favor. So you're gonna find yourself in those kind of numbers. It's funny now that from numbers 1, now you find yourself number 7. So this should also tell the players that what you need in this game is points. Points will take you where you want to be, but those points you have to fight for them. You see. So now this time around, they can see the log that it's possible to be number 1, and the next 2 days you can find yourself in number 10. For us to be where you want to be, we have to fight for those points. So that has affected everyone. That you can see that guys, not so long we're number 1, now we're number 7. That I think should be a morale boost for the boys. Well, listen, we need to go back where we belong, and we can only get there by fighting for points. You're not gonna go back there by walkovers. You're not gonna go back there for the sake of saying no, someone is doing it. No one is gonna do us a favor. You see, so we have to do ourselves a favor and fight for points and go where we belong, which is, I believe that we're a top 3 team in the league.
Being the last game for the year with the reduced squad, what sort of challenge do you expect, and what kind of game can we expect from Biazo this weekend?
So this weekend we should expect a collective effort, a collective effort, more mature performance, because you might not have players that might have the pace. You might not have players that might have the qualities that one might need. But what you need is individuals that are willing to fight for points. You see, so this weekend you should expect more of a mature performance from Biazo, and as I said, a collective effort, because we not have the qualities that we might have, but we have a group. We might have a group of individuals that are willing to fight for 3 points.
All right, coach, all the best this coming weekend, and hope you come out with the 3 points.
Thank you.
One of the points that the coach did talk about is the point around discipline, which is quite critical. And I mean, one of our guys dropped the ball in that part, getting a red card for an off the ball incident, and which really could have been avoided and should have been avoided. And going into this coming game where we are now a bit thin in terms of personnel, it's not an ideal situation to be in, where we are now short of players, and one is short, not out of injury, not out of having trouble, but due to a red card. I think we ought to be more disciplined and more intentional and more purposeful in how we control ourselves, our emotions, and not get carried away during the games. We expecting to have an interesting challenge against them. Yes, we may say that we've won against them before. That's in the past now. We need to look forward and looking at what's present, how they've been performing, and you can see that they're forced to be reckoned with. They've always been right at the top of the log. Even last season, the same thing. So there's no reason to expect that we're going to have an easy ride this coming weekend. We are preparing ourselves as best we can to make sure that we are in our best condition and we are ready to give everything we have to fight with all we've got this coming weekend. So it's gonna be a very tough weekend, and we expect nothing less from them, and we're gonna give it everything. We're going for all the points. It's gonna be a tough one, but we're going for victory. We don't intend to just be here in the league for numbers. We wanna be there to win it, so we're going all out. If you check the records, you'll see that Lungelo is one of the top players in terms of assists currently. He's amongst the top as well in terms of goals, so he's definitely a threat. I mean, as he's running down the wing, you can really feel his presence, and unfortunately that has also resulted in him getting knocked. We'd really love to see a bit more protection from the refs in that regard, perhaps. If there's more yellows for some of these incidents where people get hit on the head and those type of things, maybe there would be the players would be less inclined to do such incidents. But I mean, like the coach said, he's a fighter. He has always got up. He's always fought through. I remember the incident in the Saturday game against Juventus. He got a knock on the head, which led to the penalty that Morgan scored. He got a knock on the head. In fact, his vision was blurred out for quite some time after that, and it took a while for him to sort of get back to a condition where he was able to play. And the weekend before, he had a similar occurrence again. So it's not ideal to have those type of situations, but I mean, it's also testament to him and the effort that he has put in, the shift that he has put in for the team this season, and we hope that he will be able to stay away from injuries and continue to put in a great shift and continue to put in a great performance for us. The way that we've always gone through our predictions and they never pan out, I'm less inclined to give a prediction, but I think West City is going to be a tough one. We expect to come out with the points. However, it's going to be a tough one. I think it's probably going to be a 2-1 victory for us. It's going to be a hard-fought game, but we'll come out victorious with 2-1. So yeah, that's my prediction for the weekend. And with that, that is your Biazo weekend warm-up. All the best for the coming weekend to the boys, and I hope you will have a beautiful weekend.